Okay, Assalamualaikum and selamat sejahtera. So now let's proceed to still 2.1 ecosystem concept, but we look at the interaction between biotic components. Okay, so before this we already discussed about the biotic components. So remember, biotic components consist of autotroph or producer, consumer and also decomposer. So how biotic component interact? Okay, so it will be classified into 5 interaction. Okay, so here you can see there are 5 interaction. The first one we call as competition. Okay, and then next mutualism, parasitism, predation, another one commensalism. Okay, so we look one by one. Okay, so firstly we look at competition first. Okay, so what is competition? So the definition of competition, it is a relationship in which two or more individuals strive to obtain same limited resources. Okay, so means that when there is a relationship that involve two or more individuals compete to get the same limited resources, so this is we call as competition. So there are two types of competition. The first one we call as intra-specific competition. So intra-specific competition is the competition that occurs among the same species. So the keywords here is competition among the same species. So this is what we call as intra-specific competition. The other one, interspecific competition. So interspecific competition, okay, it is the competition that involve different species. Okay, so this is the example of the competition here. So if you look at this graph, okay, so this is the graph about the number of population against day. Okay, so there are two culture here. So this one is the Paramecium aurelia and Paramecium caudatum in separate culture. But the second graph here is the Paramecium aurelia and Paramecium caudatum in combined culture or the same culture. Okay, so if you look at this one, okay, Paramecium aurelia and also Paramecium caudatum, this one we considered as interspecific competition. So why this is interspecific? Because of what? Even though these two species, the genus are Paramecium, but their species are different. The first one, this is Paramecium aurelia. So the species, okay, for the first population here is aurelia. But the second one, this is the Paramecium caudatum. So the species for this Paramecium is caudatum. So that's why this one we consider as interspecific competition, even though both of these organisms are Paramecium. Because of what? It has different species. So if you look at this graph, okay, in separate culture, so the growth of these both Paramecium will show sigmoid growth curve. Okay, but what happen if we combine both of these Paramecium, okay, in a same culture? If you can see here, Paramecium aurelia, the growth or the number of the population keep increase, while Paramecium caudatum, okay, the growth of its population will decrease. So as a conclusion here, we can conclude that Paramecium aurelia survive in this culture, but Paramecium caudatum does not survive. So what are the reason? Okay, so one of it because maybe the reproductive rate of Paramecium aurelia is higher than Paramecium caudatum. Okay, so this is the example of interspecific competition. Okay, so now we proceed to parasitism. Okay, so what is parasitism? It is a relationship in which one species or parasite benefits. So the keywords here is parasite benefits, and the other, which is host, is adversely affected. Okay, so parasitism means parasite gets benefit while the host is harmful or the host is affected. Okay, so parasite get nutrients from its host, but the host is harmed. So this is what we call as parasitism. Okay, so there are two types of parasite. The first one we call as ectoparasite, which is it will feed on external surface of host, for the example mosquito. The other one are endoparasite, which is this parasite will live within their host. So the example of endoparasite is tapeworm. Okay, so now we look at mutualism. Okay, so what is mutualism? it is a symbiotic relationship that is beneficial to both species. So means that both species will get benefit. So if the both species gets benefit, so this is what we call as mutualism. So the example of mutualism is lichen. So what is lichen? Okay, actually it is a association between fungus, okay, and also the green algae. Okay, so fungus will provide structural support, water and mineral to algae. Okay, but the fungus obtain organic food material manufactured by green algae through photosynthesis. So means that both fungus and also algae will get benefit. So that's why this is what we call as mutualism. Okay, and then next, predation. Okay, so what is predation? It is a relationship in which one species or predator eats another species or prey. So usually predator is larger than its prey, and then presence of predator will lower the prey population. Okay, so the example of predator here is Didinium species. Okay, and then the example of prey here is Paramecium species. Okay, and then the last one we call as commensalism. So what is commensalism? It is a relationship in which one species or commensal benefits while the other species remain unharmed. Okay, so one species get benefits, the other species is unharmed. So the example of commensalism is Remora fish. So actually Remora fish is commensal. Okay, so this is a relationship between remora fish and shark. So remora fish gets benefits from the shark, okay, but the shark is unharmed. Alright, so this is the interaction between biotic components. Okay.